Hi, welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Zac Hill here with Platinum Pro Reid Duke. We're about to do a draft viewer, take a look at Reid's first several packs of the draft here at the World Championship. So Reid, can you tell us a little bit about what kind of deck you drafted?
Well, I ended up settling on a white-black Rebel deck. I have 4 of the common creatures that search up Rebels with a number of other guys. And I have some pretty good removal and a late game bomber too, so I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out.
Yeah, it looked like the draft went pretty well. So let's take a look actually at that first pack to just get an idea about the kinds of things Reid was thinking about. So you take a look at this pack here, some of the immediate standouts, you see a Glacial Ray, a Lightning Helix, several other things. Tell us, what are you thinking about when you see a pack that looks like this?
Well, when you open your Modern Masters pack, of course you're thinking about Sword of Fire and Ice and Moloku and stuff. And this pack didn't have any of those, but Wrathy Trapper I find to be, among the commons at least, one of the best ways to start a draft because it's a great card, solid in almost any deck, but it plays into multiple of the tribal synergies, which I really like. Most obviously, it's a Rebel and very powerful to search up in those complex board stalls. But it's also a rogue, so it's good in a blue-black fairies deck. Activates your Prowl. So I took Wrathy Trapper from this pack, thinking maybe Rebels, maybe fairies, maybe just some other deck that includes black, or see where the draft takes me.
So you kind of kept your options open, and it's sort of a removal spell, even though it's a creature. Cool, so let's take a look at the second pack right now. We see Wrathy Trapper out of the first pack. Now, going into this, you see another Glacial Ray, Dirkwood Bailiff, maybe Take Possession, several packs kind of deep. What are you thinking about when you see this?
Now, there's nothing much for the fairies archetype here. Right. If I knew I was going definitely for white-black Rebels, I would take Avian Changeling from this pack. However, the card that really stood out to me is Eternal Witness. In my mind, ranks as one of the 5 or 10 best non-rare cards in the set, and it's great in my favorite archetype, which is 5-color green. So while it doesn't necessarily go great with the Wrathy Trapper, I picked it. Maybe I could go for a black-green deck, or maybe I could just continue seeing how things shape out and abandon one or the other of the picks.
So you kept your options open. Now, is Wrathy Trapper good in the 5-color green deck you were talking about?
Well, when I build a 5-color green, I tend to have 2 colors as my base, and most commonly that's green and blue, but sometimes it's green and black, and Wrathy Trapper is going to be great, if that's the way things play out.
Cool. All right, so we see Wrathy Trapper and Eternal Witness going into the third pick of pack 1. We see Tar Pitcher there, Sanctum Gargoyle, a Blight Speaker, and Amru Scout for the Rebel deck. So what happens when you see both of those cards together?
Well, they're very similar in power level. Blight Speaker, I guess, gets a slight nod because if the board is gummed up and you can't attack easily, you can still continue doing something with Blight Speaker. But the reason I picked it here is, that it's black. So even if I don't end up with a dedicated Rebel deck, I could have a small package including Wrathy Trappers, Blight Speakers, whatever else it might be, and I could just insert that in any deck I end up with.
Do you find yourself doing that even if you don't have a big Rebel chain, just playing a couple Blight Speakers because it's worth, being able to tutor up a
absolutely.
Trapper?
I could imagine a Fairies deck that has, a couple Wrathy Trappers, and I'd be pretty eager to play Blight Speaker. I might even get Changelings,
Totally.
A number of ways the draft could shape out where this Blight Speaker is going to be really valuable.
All right, so we see Trapper, we saw Eternal Witness, maybe going into 5-color green, maybe green-black, and finally a Blight Sticker. Let's take a look at the fourth pick of this pack. What are you thinking about when you see this? It doesn't look like a whole lot for the archetype that you're going for.
Well, as I mentioned, I had 2 decks in mind at this point. The white-black Rebels or the 5-color green. And Feud Killer Verdicts is just a really powerful card that goes in either. Obviously, it's a white card, so nice curve topper in a Rebel deck, but it's really, really nice defensive card in the green deck, and it's a great combo with Eternal Witness, which I already had. So I was really happy to pick up the Feud Killer's Verdict here, and still 4 packs in, I'm not shoehorned into any one strategy.
Now, does the double white deter you at all in a 5-color deck, or do you think the fixing is good enough that you'll just be able to cast it?
It's definitely worth mentioning that it's double white, but so frequently you end up with 2 or 3 Kodama's Reaches, you end up with Vivid lands that really the mana is so smooth that you can afford to do something like this.
Cool. All right, so it's coming around to the 5th pick here. We've seen picks in 3 different colors now. What's this pack got for you?
I'd say this was one of the tougher picks of the draft because it was really where I had to, choose a path. On the one hand, I have Avian Changeling, which is a Rebel and very good in the white-black deck. On the other hand, I have Etched Oracle, which is one of the best card drawing spells and just a meaty creature in the 5-color green. And the deciding factor at this point was where I had Eternal Witness, one of the best cards in the deck. I didn't have yet any of the Search for Tomorrow's or Kodama's Reaches, so I could, you know, take the Etched Oracle, but that would be a pretty ambitious pick because if I didn't get the right cards, it would be really hard to activate it for its full value. So here I took Avian Changeling, and now I'm starting to think I'm going for the White-Black Rebel deck.
So that's really the moment that you moved into your deck. All right, so you've got several more cards in Pack 1. We're actually going to go to Pack 2, though. Obviously, Reid solidified his deck a little bit more. And before you talk about this pack, just really quick, had you established yourself as White-Black Rebels going into this pick?
If I recall, I had about 3 or 4 strong white cards, 3 or 4 strong black cards, and I still had the Eternal Witness and a couple of other things. So that was certainly my first choice, was to go White-Black Rebels, but if something else presented itself, I was going to consider all my options.
Sure. So did this pack present you with anything that made you change your mind, or did you kind of stick to your guns there?
A little bit of both. Here, I think Wrathy Trapper is at least by a small margin, the best card for a dedicated White-Black Rebels deck. However, Figure of Destiny is really powerful in its own right, and if I was to end up mostly white, or if something happens and I go white-red, Figure of Destiny is going to be amazing, and it's still very good in White-Black.
All right, so you did end up taking the Figure of Destiny?
Right, that was a tough pick, but I went with the more powerful late game card.
I think you just wanted a rare draft, is what you really said. Cool, so let's take a look at the second pick out of this pack. We see, again, more stuff for the 5-color deck had you gone that route. Another Eternal Witness. That Blight Speaker's got to look pretty good to you right here. Yeah,
Blight Speaker's the perfect card at this point. I think it makes my second or third Rebel Searcher in addition to several good things to search up. So pick the Blight Speaker, and now I'm like, you know, the worst that can happen is I have a pretty good Rebel deck with 2 Rebel Searchers.
Totally, and the more Rebel Searchers you get, kind of they spiral into each other. Because it just means you're doing the same thing every game. Okay, let's take a look at the next pick. Right up here, yet another Rebel. Is that what you're going for? Does that Thundercloud Shaman scare you at all?
Certainly it scares me. If there's one weakness of the Rebel deck, it's that so many of its creatures are 1 and 2 toughness. So a card like Thundercloud Shaman is really difficult to beat. But at this point, I'm just focused on my own draft. Amaru Scout is too good to pass up, and I'll just worry about the Thundercloud Shaman when I face it.
You're just keeping your fingers crossed around that guy. And, I mean, it's still in the pack pretty deep, but you know, can't worry about that. Okay, so the next pick right here. We see yet another 2-mana 2/1 in Kataki War's Rage. Veteran Armor, Kitchen Finks, probably not looking at Street Wraith. I'm kind of surprised to see the Finks that late.
Right, I mean, it's great in any white deck or any green deck, so almost every player at the table is going to want it. And here, I would have been pleased with Kataki or Veteran Armor, just solid 2 drops or good sideboard cards, but Kitchen Finks, I think, is the best card here.
Now, what did that tell you about the rest of the draft, that Kitchen Finks was still in the pack there?
Well, it made me hopeful that I was going to continue getting good white cards in pack 2.
And did that end up happening?
Yeah, I'd say so. All
right, cool. Let's take a look at the next pick right here. Finally, this is pick 5 of pack 2. Did this continue, you know, sort of giving you what you wanted?
Now, I'll be honest with you, I feel like I faced really similar pick twice in the draft. And I can't remember if I took Amaru Seekers here or Kithkin Greatheart. Both cards are pretty close. The Seekers, one more thing to search out. However, once you have 8, 9, 10 Rebels, it's like you have enough. And Kithkin Greatheart's a solid 2-drop, and I had the Avian Changeling. So I took it thinking, you know, if I get more Giants or Changelings, this will be the stronger, faster, smoother card, and I could probably get more things on the level of Amaru Seekers later in the draft.
Cool, and relevantly not actually looking at that deep cavern because Seekers is in the pack.
It certainly takes a backseat to the Seekers.
Totally. Okay, so we're in pack 3 now. Again, Reid's gone all the way through pack 2. We see a lot of stuff here. Pretty clear pick of the Adderker Valkyrie, though.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the best white cards, one of the best rares, period, in the set. And I had only the Feud Killer's Verdict as an expensive 6-drop card. So the Valkyrie was just perfect here.
Totally. So your curve can afford a 6-mana spell here. Let's look at the next pick right now. No sick rares sticking around for you. What'd you pick out of this pack?
I took Thysis from this pack, thinking, you know, just it's nice to lock up no questions asked removal spell. This card's a little bit expensive, a little bit clunky sometimes, but it's just very powerful and kind of filled a hole that needed to be filled in the draft in my deck so far. And I'm looking at Death Denied, Amory Seekers, and Gleam of Resistance as possible cards that could come around and be good additions to my deck on the wheel.
And this is like one of the first just straight up kill cards we've seen you take. So solidifying in removal now. Let's take a look at the third pick here. We got a Test of Fate. There's a common in this set. Torn of Stone, not that it's easy to splash at. And yet another Blight Seeker.
Yep. I'm just going to stay the course here, take the Blight Speaker. Can't have too many Rebel Searchers, really, because you play one and it demands a removal spell. You play another, demands a removal spell. If ever one sticks, that's when you're going to take over the game.
Kind of like a build your own pack rat, I guess. A little smaller, though. Okay, pick 4, pack 3. I see a drag down as a removal spell, a really late Plume Veil, but Plume Veil's probably kind of hard for you to cast, right?
Yeah, plus I had some pretty good defensive capabilities, and I just wanted to increase, my aggression and my versatile answers at this point. Now, I had an interesting thing going on because I had several drag downs at this point, but I was only playing a 2-color deck. So 3 mana, -2/-2, just okay. But if I could get some land cyclers, I plan to play an off-color land, as it turned out, a mountain for the Figure of Destiny. But I had a tough pick between the Drag Down and the Gleam of Resistance.
Okay.
Again, I can't remember at what point in the draft this happened because I ended up with 3 of each. I want to say I maybe took the Gleam of Resistance here since it was my first one.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and see. What did he take out of this?
I got
there
it
we go. See, the suspense was killing me.
Yeah.
All right, 6. So you've got the Gleam to go get a mountain for your Figure of Destiny, making your drag downs better. A lot of foresight in that deck.
Yeah, this card's also particularly good in the Rebel deck because I have Blight Speakers, Wrathy Trappers, and Saltfield Recluses, which all have untap abilities. So you can do crazy things like, okay, tap 2 of your creatures, Gleam of Resistance, my entire team gets pumped up, and you're having trouble blocking it. So it's especially powerful in the Rebel deck.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's close out this pack 3 right now. The final pick we're going to go through. We see yet another one of those Gleam of Resistance, Warden Weirding, Meadow Boon, actually, kind of a unique card. What'd you take here?
I took the Meadow Boon. It's just such a solid creature. In those drawn-out games where I'm able to search up a number of guys, evoking a Meadow Boon is going to be really powerful. There's still some chance of seeing something like a Flicker Wisp or an Otherworldly Journey even this late in the draft. But Meadow Boon's just the best card in the pack, and I felt like I was pretty much had my bases covered on the drag down package.
Yeah, no shortage of drag downs and gleams for you. Not a bad situation to be in. Okay, well, we're here with Reid Duke, black, white, and I guess a small splash of red Rebels. You're sitting at 2-0 right now, yeah?
That's right.
All right, well, good luck, Reid. Here at the Tournament Center, I'm Zac Hill. Let's head back to the World Championships.